we always talk about personal growth like it's this amazing, straightforward journey, right? But what about the person you used to be, the one you had to leave behind? Well, today we're going to get into the surprisingly real grief that comes with outgrowing your old self.
I mean, we hear it all the time, from day one, that change is good, progress is the goal, and becoming a better you is always something to celebrate. And you know what? For the most part, that is totally true. But there's this other side of it, a part that can feel kind of confusing, maybe even a little lonely. It's that weird feeling that even though you've gained so much, you've also lost something pretty significant along the way.
So what happens when you've done all the work to change, to heal, and you find yourself missing the very person you fought so hard to leave behind? That feeling of sadness for the you that was struggling, it's real. And it's definitely something we need to talk about.
Okay, so let's break this down. This whole feeling starts to make a lot more sense when you realize that growth isn't just about adding new things. It's also about subtraction. To make room for the new you kind of have to say goodbye to the old you. And this is where things get really interesting. Because you don't just outgrow clothes. You outgrow friendships that don't fit anymore, old habits that kept you stuck, and even those old coping strategies that got you through tough times. You can outgrow entire identities. You know, being the life of the party, or the people pleaser, or even just the survivor.
And here's the real kicker. Even if those old habits or identities were unhealthy, they felt familiar. And our brains absolutely love familiar. That old way of being, it was like armor. It protected you in some way, and that familiarity can feel a heck of a lot like safety, even when it's not really good for us.
So this feeling, this vague sense of loss for your past self, it isn't just you being weird. It actually has a name. And just giving it a label can be so powerful, because it tells you you're not crazy and you're definitely not alone in this.
It's called identity grief. Think of it like a mourning process for a part of you that's, well, been retired. It did its job, it got you through, and now its purpose is served. It's acknowledging that this past self, flaws and all, was important, and letting them go is a real loss.
So why do we get hit with this wave of nostalgia? It's so important to get this straight. This isn't about regret. It's not about wishing you could go back. It's all about acknowledgement.
I mean, it's the big question, isn't it? It sounds completely backwards. Why on earth would you miss a version of yourself who was struggling, anxious, or unhappy? It just doesn't seem to add up.
Well, it's a paradox. On the one hand, yeah, that person was struggling. They were maybe even unhealthy. But on the other hand, they gave you things you desperately needed back then. They gave you protection. They learned how to endure. They figured out in their own imperfect way how to get you through the day.
And listen, this is probably the most important thing to hear. Feeling this grief does not, I repeat, does not mean you made a mistake by growing. It doesn't mean you secretly wish you were back in that old, painful place. Not at all.
The real reason you feel that pang of sadness is because that version of you, they carried an incredible amount of weight to get you to where you are today. The grief is actually a form of respect. It's a quiet thank you for their strength and their resilience. So, what do we do with all this? How do you hold on to this feeling and still keep moving forward? Well, the secret isn't to erase your past. It's to integrate it. It's about figuring out how to move forward, but as a whole person.
It really boils down to two things. First, you just have to understand that growth doesn't delete the old you. It's all part of your story. And second, you start to see that honoring your old self, actually grieving them, is a crucial part of becoming the person you're meant to be.
And that's really the big takeaway here. Real, lasting growth isn't about pretending your past didn't happen. It's about looking back with kindness, thanking that person for getting you through, and carrying their strength forward with you. You don't become whole by cutting off pieces of yourself. You become whole by bringing them all together. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. What version of you are you slowly letting go of right now? And instead of just trying to forget them or push them away, maybe you can just take a second to thank them for everything they did for you before you gently let them go.